Singapore's preschool regulator is reviewing the possibility of tougher penalties for errant operators. Now, they're all part of efforts by the Early Childhood Development Agency to strengthen safeguards and better protect children in the wake of the recent child abuse and mistreatment cases. Tan Se-hui reports.
This woman was arrested last month after online videos showed her allegedly abusing the young children in her care. Investigations later found another 4 educators used inappropriate methods to handle their preschool students.
Like many members of the public, parents and preschool educators, I was shocked and alarmed. The videos were painful to watch.
They were all working for the same preschool chain, Kinderland, which lists on its website more than a dozen locations in Singapore. The Early Childhood Development Agency fined them $5,000, the maximum allowed under the law. ECDA also reduced the centre's license tenure to 6 months from 2 years.
The shortened license will impact the centre's operations as it will influence parents' decision to enrol their child at the centre in the coming year. ECDA has also withdrawn the centre's Spark certification.
Spark certifications are given to centres that meet baseline quality standards to recognise preschool's efforts that improve teaching and learning. But beyond these actions, the regulator is also looking to tighten parameters and considering tougher penalties.
ECDA intends to strengthen the framework and review the provisions to see if penalties imposed on operators for child mismanagement should be enhanced, including whether financial penalties should be raised.
The Minister of State stressed that the recent cases are not reflective of the wider preschool sector. She says there are currently about 10 child mismanagement cases per 100,000 enrolled children each year, and it's a figure that has remained low and stable over recent years. But the recent cases have rattled the public and put pressure on the government to do more.
Can ECDA require all preschools to adopt a child protection policy and provide a template to all preschools to customize to their own needs?
This is the ECDA Act that I mentioned, 65 pages, right? We have the regulations, 66 pages. We have a code of practice. This is in its second edition, 75 pages. All these are policies which we constantly review, which we constantly engage industry and operators on. It is not for a lack of policies. We can have all the policies under the sun in the world, but what is important is how well it is being executed on the ground.
She says there are explicit provisions in the Early Childhood Development Centres Act and regulations that make clear what actions educators cannot subject children to, like force feeding, striking a child, and causing psychological trauma.
Well, discussions in Parliament on safety in the early childhood sector also focused on the requirement for all preschools to have CCTV cameras by July next year. Opposition MP Hazel Phua raising questions on the timeline for implementation.
The time frame that is given to them of close to 1 year appears to me a bit excessive. Can the MOS explain why is it not possible for them to install the CCTV in a time frame of closer to like 3 to 4 months? Thank you.
Operators will need time to procure their CCTVs. They will need time to identify where are the appropriate places to install the CCTVs. Operators must also have relevant protocols in place and also share that with parents so that parents know in what kind of situations it will be appropriate to ask for CCTV footages and what they can expect the response from the preschools to be.
Ms. Sun added that centres are encouraged to install CCTV cameras earlier, ahead of the deadline. On privacy concerns, she said access to footage will only be granted to clarify feedback or assist in investigations. The faces of children and staff who are not part of the inquiry or investigation will be obscured. Ms. Sun also warned that there will be consequences if CCTV footage is tampered with.
There may be possibilities where the CCTV footages may be tempered prior to the review of the parents of the affected children, or that there will be situations where the alleged child mismanagement incident actually took place at a blind spot or areas that are not captured by the CCTV. How would ECDA actually ensure that such parents' concerns are properly addressed?
It will be an offence to tamper with CCTV footage, right? It's the intent to have the CCTV footage to ensure the security, safety of the children. It's very obvious. So if any operator were to tamper with the footage because they want to obscure wrongdoing or to cover up wrongdoing, please rest assured that the authorities will take firm action against such operators.
There were also questions about the ministry's stance on the use of personal mobile devices in the classrooms and the risk that it might deter whistleblowing. Also on what other options educators have to report wrongdoing.
What is ministry's view of certain operators banning mobile phone devices of the preschool teachers in classrooms, and would these discourage whistleblowing? At the same time, does ECDA have a hotline for the preschool teachers to call so that they can whistleblow, or they have a listening ear to turn to? Thank you.
Any operator's policy on the use of personal mobile devices at work should not hinder their staff from reporting any wrongdoing in their centres. I've also mentioned in my main reply that there are various channels for anyone to report wrongdoing. Members of the public, educators, there are hotlines, email addresses in which any member of the public and educator can report wrongdoing. And these channels do lead to ECDA.
To further support educators, ECDA says it will also work with the National Institute of Early Childhood Development to strengthen educator training in the do's and don'ts of child management strategies, such as positive methods versus prohibited ones.
Apart from expanding coverage of positive child management strategies, training materials will be more explicit in what constitute inappropriate and prohibited methods. This will help our educators be better equipped to call out child mismanagement practices in their preschool.
As for psychological screenings, Ms. Sun says she doesn't think people with well-managed mental health conditions should be excluded from the sector, and there should be a balance between ensuring child safety and ensuring that mental health conditions are not stigmatized. ECDA is also reviewing the practice of non-contact time in preschools to give teachers some respite in the workday.